In this video, we're going to cover a military comparison between India and Pakistan, for us to get an idea of who will likely win a war between the two neighbors that are currently staring at an escalation of tensions that has seen some erratic reactions on both sides of their shared border, like cancelling of visas, expulsion of diplomats and threats of dire consequences. But before we get to the military comparison, perhaps it'll be better to get a basic understanding of the context behind the current standoff. The current conflict between India and Pakistan centers on a deadly terrorist attack in the Indian-administered Kashmir region and the subsequent escalation of tensions. On April 22, 2025, gunmen killed 26 people, mostly Indian tourists, near Pahalgam, a popular resort town in Kashmir, and in reaction, India accused Pakistan of backing the attack, claiming the perpetrators were Pakistani nationals linked to a militant group called the Kashmir Resistance. However, Pakistan denied any involvement, asserting that the attack was an internal matter for India, and rejecting claims of cross-border terrorism. But the attack reignited the long-standing territorial dispute over Kashmir, a region both nations claim in full but control in part since the 1947 partition of British India. India has been accusing Pakistan of supporting militant groups to destabilize Indian-administered Kashmir, a charge Pakistan denies, claiming it only provides moral support to Kashmiri self-determination, so the Pahalgam attack, seen by India as Pakistan-sponsored, intensified these accusations. And it's even in the aftermath of the terror attacks that Prime Minister Narendra Modi vowed to pursue, track, and punish the terrorists and their backers, thereby highlighting India's broader narrative that Pakistan's military and intelligence agencies, particularly the Inter-Services Intelligence, support anti-India militant groups.
I say to the whole world, India will identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their backers.
Additionally, India conducted some naval tests and announced punitive measures, including downgrading diplomatic ties, suspending the Indus Waters Treaty, and revoking visas for Pakistani nationals, with the Indus Waters Treaty being a 1960 agreement governing shared river waters, which is critical for Pakistan's agriculture, and its suspension being a significant escalation that might have a dire consequence to Pakistan's agriculture. On the other hand, Pakistan retaliated by closing its airspace to Indian airlines, rejecting the Indus Water Treaty suspension, and declaring India's actions as a violation of the 1972 similar agreement, which mandates bilateral resolution of disputes.
Any attempt to stop, reduce, or divert the flow of water belonging to Pakistan under the Indus Waters Treaty would be responded to with full force and might, and nobody should remain under any kind of false impression.
Pakistan's military was also placed on high alert, and its air force redeployed its assets in readiness for any eventualities. So amidst these tensions, let's get back to our topic and take a look at the military comparison of the two neighbors, and of course comparing their military capabilities involves analyzing various factors such as manpower, equipment, budgets and strategic capabilities. Based on available data, primarily from the Global Firepower Index 2025 and other sources, here is that concise comparison across key metrics. Number 10, Global Firepower Ranking. India is ranked at position 4 out of 145 countries, with a power index of 0.1184, and in this case, the lower the better. Pakistan is on the other hand ranked at position 12, with a power index of 0.2513. This implies that India holds a significant advantage in overall military power, reflecting larger resources and capabilities. Number 9, Manpower. India has a population of 1.438 billion people, ranking as the most populated country in the world, while Pakistan has a population of around 252 million, ranking 5th globally, and militarily, India has 1.46 million active military personnel, coming as the second largest globally, while Pakistan has 654,000 active military personnel. At the same time, India has 1.15 million reserve personnel, while Pakistan has 550,000, and in terms of paramilitary forces, India has 2.5 million paramilitary personnel, while Pakistan has 500,000. Therefore, India's larger population provides it with a substantial manpower advantage over Pakistan, with nearly double the active personnel and 5 times the paramilitary forces. However, Pakistan's smaller but professional force is battle-tested, particularly in counter-insurgency. Number 8. Defense budget. India has a defense budget of around $79 billion, which accounts to around 13% of the total budget for the 2025-2026 financial year. Pakistan, on the other hand, has a defense budget of $8 billion, which implies that India's defense budget is around 10 times larger than that of Pakistan, enabling greater investment in modernization of its military infrastructure, procurement of much more lethal weapons, as well as facilitation of logistics. Pakistan's smaller budget limits its ability to match India's scale, but it is supplemented by foreign military aid, especially from China and Turkey and the United States of America. Number 7. Land forces. India has 4,201 tanks such as the legendary T-90 Bhishma and Arjun tanks. Pakistan, on the other hand, has 2,627 tanks, such as the Al-Khalid and Type 59s. In terms of armored vehicles, India has 149,000 units, while Pakistan has around 50,000 units. Then on artillery, India has 9,800 pieces, that is both towed and self-propelled artilleries, while Pakistan has around 4,500 pieces, with a notable edge in self-propelled artillery. So on land forces, India has superior numbers in tanks and armored vehicles, enhancing mechanized mobility and firepower, but Pakistan's strength in self-propelled artillery provides a tactical advantage in certain scenarios. Number 6. Air forces. On the Air Force, we will look at aircrafts like fighter jets, as well as helicopters, aerial tankers, and early warning aircrafts. The Indian military has a total of 2,229 aircrafts, including 513 fighter jets, such as the Rafale, Sukhoi Su-30 Mki and the HAL Tekis, while the Pakistani military has 1,399 aircrafts, including 328 fighter jets, such as the JF-17 Thunder and F-16. And on helicopters, India has 900 units, including attack helicopters like Apache, while the Pakistani military has 373 helicopters. India also has 6 aerial tankers while Pakistan has 4 of them, and on early warning aircrafts, India has 4 units while Pakistan has 7 of them. This therefore means that India's air force is larger and more diverse, with advanced aircrafts and indigenous development like the Tekis, but Pakistan's smaller air force is modernizing, with capable platforms like the JF-17s, and better early warning capabilities. Number 5. Naval forces. On naval fleet strength, India has 293 vessels, with a 2 aircraft carrier, 18 submarines, 14 destroyers and 13 frigates. On the other hand, Pakistan has 121 vessels, with 8 submarines, 9 frigates, but doesn't have any aircraft carrier. Therefore, India's navy is significantly larger and more advanced, with blue water capabilities, such as aircraft carrier INS Vikramaditya and nuclear submarines, but Pakistan's navy focuses on coastal defense and submarine warfare, classified as a green water navy. Number 4. Nuclear capabilities. India has around 140 nuclear warheads with missiles like the AGNI-3, which has a range of 5,000 kilometers. Pakistan has 150 nuclear warheads with missiles like the Shaheen-2, which has a 2,000-kilometer range. Therefore, both nations have comparable nuclear arsenals, acting as strategic deterrents, but Pakistan emphasizes on tactical nuclear weapons to counter India's conventional superiority. Number 3. Strategic and economic factors. With $3.9 trillion, India's GDP is 10 times bigger than Pakistan's GDP of $375 billion. India also has $627.8 billion in foreign reserves, while Pakistan has $13.7 billion. Additionally, India has 14,500 kilometers of navigable waterways, ranking 10th globally, while Pakistan with no navigable waterways ranks 145th globally. Therefore, India's stronger economy and logistics infrastructure support sustained military operations, but Pakistan's economic constraints and reliance on foreign aid from China and the United States of America limit its long-term capacity. Number 2. Qualitative considerations. India benefits from a larger, modernizing force, international military exercises and indigenous defense production like the BrahMos and Panakas. Its challenges, however, include bureaucratic delays and reliance on aging equipment such as MiG-21s. Pakistan, on the other hand, is known for tactical expertise and proxy warfare, with several inter-services intelligence-supported groups, but its military is politicized, with a history of coups and economic constraints, limiting modernization. However, its strong ties with China, especially with JF-17 and Shaheen exercises, bolster its capabilities. Number 1. Training and morale. India's volunteer army is diverse but faces recruitment challenges, but Pakistan's military leverages nationalistic and religious fervor, even though it is stretched by internal security issues. In conclusion, India holds a clear advantage in conventional military strength due to its larger manpower, budget, and equipment across land, air, and sea domains. Its economic and logistical edge supports sustained operations, and its global ranking reflects broader capabilities. But Pakistan, while outnumbered, maintains a professional, battle-hardened force with strengths in artillery, early warning aircraft, and nuclear deterrence, and its strategic focus on proxy warfare and alliances such as that with China compensates for some limitations. In a hypothetical full-scale conventional war, India's numerical and technological superiority would likely prevail, but Pakistan's tactical nuclear capabilities and defensive strategies could complicate outcomes, especially in a short conflict. However, both nations' nuclear arsenals ensure mutual deterrence, making diplomacy critical to avoiding escalation, so even though both militaries are on alert, diplomacy may prevent a full-scale war in the current conflict. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the current conflict and escalation? Leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe before leaving.